The HOA cop's voice cracked through the air like a whip. "Step out of the truck! Now!" His pistol shook like his nerves couldn't keep with his mouth, and it was aimed straight at my son, Marcus. But Marcus, he didn't even blink. That calm, trained look stayed locked on the guy, the kind that only comes from someone who's been to war and came back standing. Me? My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it echo off the barn walls. A man in a fake vest was pointing a real gun at my son on our own land. Before we go any further, drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from and hit that subscribe button because tomorrow's story, let's just say you do not want to miss it. Now, let's rewind to where this madness began. When I bought our ranch outside Maple Ridge, I thought I'd finally found freedom. 40 acres of cedar, pasture, and peace. The loudest sound was cicadas in summer, and the only thing neighbors did was wave, not snoop. For years, it was perfect until a new HOA development popped up next door. And guess what? Peace doesn't pay, apparently. At first, it was small stuff, flyers about non-compliant fencing, letters whining that my barn was an eyesore visible from the road. Funny thing is, I wasn't even part of their HOA. My deed made that crystal clear. But the board president, Denise Hall, kept pushing. Then my son Marcus came home, fresh out of the military. He just wanted quiet, a place to breathe, help me with the ranch, maybe start over. But Denise and her little HOA army didn't like him. Overnight, they rolled out a new rule, 55 and older community only. Marcus was 30, so suddenly his existence was a violation. That's when Rick, their self-declared HOA cop, showed up in a beat-up Tahoe, a fake badge, and a vest stamped HOA enforcement. The guy strutted around like a discount FBI agent. At first, we laughed, but when he started taking pictures, writing fake tickets, and peeking through our barn windows, that's when it stopped being funny. Because Rick wasn't just nosy, he was hunting. So I marched right into Denise Hall's little HOA office, the kind that smells like air freshener and ego, slammed that stack of fake violation letters right on her desk and said, "Listen, my ranch isn't part of your HOA, so call off your attack dog before I do it for you." She just smiled, that fake, polite smile people wear when they think they're smarter than you. "Rick is here to ensure the safety of the community," she said. "If your son causes disruption, we have every right to respond." Excuse me? Respond to what? Marcus had done nothing but exist. Apparently, that was the crime. When I told her she had no jurisdiction, she leaned forward, voice dropping like she was sharing a secret. "Maybe not legally," she said, "but perception is power. And right now, the perception is that your son doesn't belong here." That's when it clicked. This wasn't incompetence. This was a setup. Denise wanted us gone, and Rick was her blunt instrument. Over the next few weeks, things got weird. Rick started tailing Marcus on the county road, parking near our fence line, blocking the gate like he owned the dirt beneath it. Can you imagine someone shadowing a Special Forces veteran like that and thinking it'd end well? I told Marcus to let it go, to keep calm. He just smiled that quiet soldier smile. "Dad," he said, "I've seen worse than wannabe cops." But then it got worse. Rick started showing up at night. Once, Marcus caught him crouched by the barn, pretending to take photos for records. Another time, he left a fake citation on Marcus's windshield for unauthorized vehicle presence. A truck on our land. By that point, I could feel it building, like a thunderstorm ready to crack. Because when a man like Rick doesn't get checked, he starts believing his own lies. And one hot morning, he finally snapped. That's the day he pulled into our driveway, stepped out with his gun drawn, and decided to play cop for real. That morning started out like any other. Marcus had just come back from hauling hay, shirt dusted in sweat and grit, baseball cap pulled low against the sun. I was fixing the barn door hinge when I heard tires crunching hard on the gravel drive. I looked up, and there it was. Rick's beat-up Tahoe, kicking up a storm of dust behind it. He stopped halfway down my driveway like he owned it, swung out of the driver's seat, and strutted forward, hand already resting on his holster, big white letters across his vest, HOA cop. The irony practically screamed louder than he did. Marcus stepped out of his truck, calm as stone, wiping sweat off his brow. Then snap. Rick's gun was up. "Step out of the truck now," he barked. Voice too loud, hands too shaky. The man was trembling so hard his own pistol wobbled. Marcus froze, not in fear, but calculation. You could see it in his eyes. The soldier switch flipped on, every move measured, every breath controlled. I shouted, "Rick, put the damn gun down." He ignored me. "This man's a violation," he yelled. "He's not allowed here. He's a threat to the community. That I'm detaining him under HOA authority." HOA authority? Are you kidding me? This clown thought he was in a Tom Clancy novel. I stepped forward, my voice low but boiling. "You're trespassing, armed, and impersonating law enforcement. That's a felony." Rick's eyes snapped toward me, full of rage. "Shut your mouth, old man. You've let this punk stay here long enough." And that's when Marcus moved. Lightning. 1 second, Rick had a gun. The next, Marcus had it. He sidestepped, twisted, and disarmed him in one clean motion so fast I barely caught it. Rick stumbled back, clutching his wrist, eyes wide like he'd seen a ghost. What the hell are you?" he spat. Marcus stared him down, voice calm as steel. "Special Forces. You just pointed a gun at the wrong man." The silence that followed? Thick, electric. Rick's tough guy act clean in two. He was shaking now, muttering something about just doing my job. But Marcus wasn't done. He cleared the chamber, held the gun low, safe, and said, "Leave, now, before the sheriff drags you out in cuffs." Rick backed up, stammering, "This isn't over," before jumping into his Tahoe and tearing off like a scared cat. The silence after Rick sped off didn't last long. By dusk, the sheriff's cruisers were parked at our gate, lights spinning red against the cedar trees. We handed over everything: Rick's gun, the dash cam footage, and my phone recording. Deputy Collins took one look at the vest and said, "Yeah, this one's going to be fun." You could tell he'd seen wannabe heroes before, but never one this stupid. The next 48 hours moved faster than a wildfire. The sheriff's team pulled neighbors for statements, and boy, did the floodgates open. One neighbor had photos of Rick's vest from months back. Another had copies of his incident logs, handwritten reports about underage males and non-compliant guests. Creepy doesn't even begin to cover it. When they searched his Tahoe, it got worse. A fake badge, forged HOA tickets, and a burner phone loaded with photos, notes, and voice memos. Yeah, Officer Rick had built himself a full-on stalker starter kit. The prosecutor wasted no time. Impersonation, trespass, unlawful brandishing, and assault with a deadly weapon. Felony charges. Serious time. But here's the twist. Rick wasn't the only one in trouble. The forensics team cracked his phone and found texts from Denise Hall, the HOA queen herself. Payment confirmations, updates, even one message that said, "Make him uncomfortable. Pressure makes people sell." Oh, Denise, not the smartest thing to text when you're running a suburban mafia. That single message started an avalanche. The county attorney dropped subpoenas. The state licensing board opened an inquiry. The HOA's accounts were frozen, and the board was slapped with conspiracy and organized harassment charges. Then came the lawsuits. Homeowners filed class actions. People finally came forward with stories, photos, and threats they'd ignored for months. By the time it hit court, the HOA was finished. Rick pled guilty, took probation, and got banned from owning a firearm for life. Denise and two board members were indicted. The HOA was put under receivership, basically babysat by the county until it got rebuilt from scratch. A few months later, Marcus and I stood on our porch, coffee steaming in hand, watching the sun rise over a ranch finally at peace. The line was drawn. The bullies lost because intimidation? Cheap. But accountability? Oh, that's expensive. What do you think, folks? Did they get what they deserved? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow's HOA story makes this one look tame.